Hola mi gente, welcome back to Cat and Too Many Books. I'm Kat. It's been a crazy week here. We've gotten a lot of snow, so I've had a little bit of time to be able to prep a bonus episode, so I decided to do this episode. It's one of the most popular ones I see on YouTube all the time, and it is the most anticipated titles that people have. So I decided to sort of join in and talk about what I am most looking forward to reading in 2025 if possible. So I have 25 books that are my most anticipated in 2025 for the first half of 2025. So this is from January through June. But yeah, I want to go ahead and get started in those. So again, this is my most anticipated titles of 2025 for the first half of the year. So I want to start with the genres. I have got a lot of fantasy. I don't think I realized how big of a fantasy girly I am until I put this bookshelf together in the background. And these are books I really, 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 really want to read. Like, I'm stoked to read all these books. And the first 2.5 shelves are all fantasy, all different kinds of fantasy. So I've got a good bunch of fantasy books in this list of most anticipated, but it's got a good mix of horror, nonfiction, mystery, some historical fiction, a few nonfictions, maybe one romance. But yeah, I am excited about these. So let me just get started with the ones that I want to read. It came out, some of these have already come out. So the January ones that I have for here have already come out. So I'm just going to talk about them. Death of the Author by Nnedi Okorafor came out January 14th. I love Okorafor's writing. I've not read Binti. It is something that I want to read, but I have read quite a few short stories by Okorafor, and I've loved her short stories. So this book is a discussion about AI. It's science fiction. It has disability rep. Zilu, the main character, loses her job and her story is rejected. So she ends up writing this science fiction story that changes everything for her. It's very much a book about books, which I love. It is also standalone. I'm trying really hard to read standalones. I'm looking forward to this one. The next one I'm excited about this one. Very excited. It's Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. I love Grady Hendrix. I've loved all of their books. It's horror, of course, also a standalone. It is about 15-year-old Fern. It's set in the 1970s, and Fern has gotten herself in trouble, which means she's pregnant at 15. She's a teenage mother, and at this time in this place, and this is true to real life, she's sent away to a home for girls who get in trouble. Where she meets a bunch of other girls in the same circumstances as she's in, but their lives are very strictly controlled by the adults, and it's not good. So apparently there's a librarian where they're staying who gives them a book of the occult, and the girls begin to use it to shift power to them, but power comes at a cost. So I guess we'll find out what the cost is. This book came out January 16th. The next one I have is, and I've seen this on several people's lists, and I am very interested. It's Watermoon by Samantha Soto Yambao, which is a fantasy mystery standalone. And it's about a woman who inherits a pawn shop. I think this is so cool. It is about a woman who inherits a pawn shop where you can sell your regrets. And she embarks on some kind of magical journey with a young scientist that wanders into her shop one day. That's really all I know. It's actually supposed to be pretty cozy, I think. Like, it sounds like it's kind of cozy. I'm actually really looking forward to this. The cover is, I love the cover as well. It's beautiful. The next one I have is going to be coming out February 6th. Let's talk about how I literally made a little gaspy noise when I saw this, but it is a new Libba Bray, and I am excited about that. I've not yet finished the Diviners series, but I have loved what I have read so far. So it is Under the Same Stars by Libba Bray. It's historical fiction fantasy, and it's a standalone. It is also an adult novel, so I think it's her first adult. I don't know if it's her first adult novel, but it is an adult novel. And it's got 3 timelines. It's all the 3 timelines have this magical tree that you write on. It's called the Bridegroom, and it's going to bring you the person that you're meant to be with or something. I think the timelines are 1940s Germany, 1980s West Germany, and then 2020 New York during the COVID. It has queer rep, and apparently the timelines will converge, because I believe that the 2020 timeline has the characters in that timeline trying to solve a mystery that I think connects to the 1940s timeline. So sounds great. I'm super excited to read Libba Ray and read something completely new from her. The next one comes out February 11th. I love this so much. It's called The Queens of Crime by I think it's Marie Benedict or Mary Benedict. I think it's Marie Benedict. It's historical fiction mystery. And it is set in London 1930. There are 5 of the greatest women writers from a former secret society. And these writers include Dorothy Sayers and Agatha Christie. And they get together to solve a real murder of a young woman that is strangled. And so, yeah, I don't know if this, so far, I think this is a standalone. I don't think it's a series, but I'm so looking forward to reading this book with these like real life mystery writers, but in a fictionalized story. I'm stoked. I'm stoked. I love this. The next one I have is, if you know me a little bit, I'm a big Jane Austen fan. I really love Jane Austen. So the next one's called Jane Austen's Bookshelf by Rebecca Romney. It comes out February 20th. It's a nonfiction. It's a book about books, which I love, and it introduces readers to women writers who inspired Jane Austen and investigates why their books have disappeared and we haven't really heard about them. I think a lot of the women writers that we learn about in this book are ones that we don't know, and their work has just disappeared. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm currently in the middle of the January reading challenge. I'm so happy to be reading books about Jane and to be able to continue reading books about Jane into the rest of this year. The next one I have is Notes on Surviving the Fire by Kristen Murphy. I've got my little laptop here, so I'm looking down. Notes on Surviving the Fire by Kristen Murphy comes out February 25th. It's a mystery thriller. It's a story about vengeance, which I love. I love female vengeance stories. I do. So it really talks about the insidious nature of rape culture, especially in college. And it's ultimately a woman's journey to come back to herself after she has survived an attack. So Sarah's attacked, but in school by a very popular student, but isn't believed except for her best friend Nathan. And then when Nathan turns up dead from an overdose, she knows that's not what happened. She suspects that he was murdered. So she goes on a mission to find out the truth, and I think possibly to avenge his death. Excited to read this. I really am so excited. The next one I have, so I think that's, sorry, I was like forgetting, come back. I think that one's probably also literary fiction and a mystery, maybe thriller. The next one I have is, I'm excited about this one. It reminds me of, I don't know where you are in your decades, but I remember a movie called Teaching Mrs. Tingle, and it seems very similar to Teaching Mrs. Tingle in a way. And this movie came out in like the 90s or early 2000s. But the title of the book is That'll Teach Her by Maze Evans. And it comes out February 27th. It's a mystery, and it is mixed media, which just brings me joy. I am a huge fan of epistolatory novels specifically, but mixed media makes me so happy as well. Oh my gosh, I love mixed media. So this is a story about Miss Stitchwell, a very hated head teacher who drops dead in school from like a peanut allergy, but a group of parents suspect that it wasn't accidental and they decide to investigate. And so the book has a lot of like emails, text messages, group chats, like letters and stuff, like them just kind of going through it and trying to figure out what really happened to Miss Stitchwell. so excited. The next one I have, and this one comes out in March, is The River Has Roots by Amal El Moter, who co-wrote one of my favorite books ever, This Is How We Stop the Time War. And it is about two sisters, and so it's a fantasy novella. It's a novella, so that's good. It's about two sisters who live near Fairy, so that's a Feyland, and they are the Hawthorne family, and they have like an ancient pact to sing to the enchanted willows that border the land of like the mortals and the fairy, as thanks for the magic that they give. The sisters find themselves in peril when one of them rejects the human to be with her fae lover. So yeah, that's really the gist I know about this story. Sounds great. I love Amal El Moter's writing. I am so very excited to read something else by them. The next one I have comes out March 11th. It's called The Antidote by Karen Russell. It's a historical fiction, kind of magical realism kind of fantasy thing. It's also a Western. I liked Westerns growing up. I haven't seen very many. We don't do Westerns anymore, but I've enjoyed Westerns for the most part. So this is a Western set in a fictional town of Ooze in Nebraska during the Great Depression. So it's like an alternate timeline, basically. So it's got a few different characters. There's a prairie witch whose body holds people's memories and secrets. A Polish wheat farmer with a curse. His orphan niece, who's the witch's apprentice. And then there's a magical scarecrow, which I'm like, what? And then a photographer with a time traveling camera. So their camera, I think, can show you whatever it takes. The gist I feel is like this camera can show you whatever it takes a picture of and what it will look like eventually. I'm guessing that's what it is. I don't know 100%, but sounds really cool. I'm excited to like give it a go. Oh yeah, this is one of my most anticipated ones of the year. Truly. It is Sunrise on the Reaping by Susan Collins. Comes out March 18th. You know, it's dystopian young adult fantasy. It is another one in the oh my god, it just went really out of my head. Hunger Games. In the Hunger Games series. So it's a Hunger Games novel. It's the next one, and it is Haymitch's Story. Haymitch's Story. Woo! That's all I need to know. That's it. It's Haymitch's Story. Takes place during the 5th Hunger Games. That's all I care about. I'm stoked. I'm so excited. Okay. The next one I have comes out March 27th. It is A Fortune Most Fatal by Jessica Bull. I don't remember where I heard about this one, but it's the second in the Miss Austen Investigates series. Now I've got to read the first one, obviously, before I can read the second one, but I put this on here because I will read the first one because this sounds like so much fun. So it's a historical fiction mystery. Probably a bit like a cozy mystery. I love me some cozy mysteries. You guys know that already. It's like definitely something I love. Number 2 in the series, right? So says healing a broken heart, Jane goes to visit her brother Nettie. There she suspects like a princess is trying to take advantage of her brother, and then she has to save a young girl while trying not to ruin her brother's reputation. So there's a lot going on here. But yes, so I think this is the only one. I think maybe there's a second one, but I tried to not put very many series in here because I'm trying to cut down on the series, not add to them. So this is one of the few that is a series. The next one I have is A Story of Murder. Comes out March 22nd. Nope. March 27th. It is by Haley Rubenhold, who is the author of the nonfiction The Five, which was the story, the telling of the 5 women that Jack the Ripper killed. But it doesn't focus on him. It focuses on the 5 women. I've not, like, everything I've heard about that novel. Yes, and it is literally on it's going to be a thing that I am going to read. However, I really want to read the second one. It is this next one. It is also a true crime nonfiction, and it is about the famous Kripken murder, which was the murder committed by a doctor. He killed his wife, and then he had a lover, and he like pretended, or his lover disguised herself as his son, so they could evade, I guess, capture. I'm not 100% sure of the word, but I know that his first wife died under mysterious circumstances. His second wife was murdered, and then his lover. So the story is told through the viewpoints of those three women: his ex-wife that died under mysterious circumstances, his wife that was murdered, and the woman that was his lover. That sounds excellent. We've gotten ourselves into April, so this one sounds wild. So it comes out April 3rd. It is by Bob the Drag Queen. Okay. Harriet Tubman live in concert. This sounds incredible. Historical fiction, queer fiction, fantasy. So it's an alternate story of Harriet Tubman. Harriet wants to put on a show about her life like Hamilton, like a Hamilton-like show. I don't know anything else about this. It just sounds utterly wild and amazing, and I am here for it, please. The next one I have is Flirting Lessons by Jasmine Guillory, maybe? I'm not sure how to pronounce it. If I pronounce that wrong, I'm so sorry. It comes out April 8th, and I think this is this author's first queer romance. So it's a sapphic contemporary romance. Avery, fresh from a breakup, decides she needs to kind of change her life and change her dating experience. She doesn't have very many much dating experience either with men or women. So we have bisexual representation. Thank you. And then, so she enlists the help of Taylor, who's like a well-known flirt and a big heartbreaker, to help her sort of learn how to flirt. Now, Taylor's just gotten into a bet with her best friend that she can't go 2 months without sleeping around. So Taylor decides to help Avery by giving her flirting lessons, and then I think a romance ensues from there, and I'm sure we'll have like complications, and that sounds so good. So yes, I'm excited for that one. I am excited. The next one I have is Overgrowth by Mira Grant. Comes out May 6th. Mira Grant is the other name that Shauna McGuire goes under. And she writes, I think, her horror under Mira Grant, her specific horror under Mira Grant. And it's horror science fiction. And I put this on my list because it was said that it is very reminiscent of Annihilation, which is part of the Southern Cross trilogy by Jeff Vander. Oh my gosh. Meer. I couldn't remember his last name. I'm so sorry. Vanderbeek. It is one of my favorite things that it's such a great one. So anyway, so it's reminiscent of Annihilation, which was probably my favorite in that series. And so it talks about how the main character is Anastasia, and since she was 3 years old, she's been telling everybody that she is an alien in a human body, and that the armada that left her is coming back for her. And fast forward to today, and the aliens are signaling. Okay. Next, that's it. I'm good with that. I'm just excited. Next I have The Devils by Joe Abercrombie, right? That's how you say Joe's name. Joe Abercrombie, May 6th. It is a new, I'm not even sure. This might be a standalone. It's a horror. I know Joe has written a fantasy series. I've got it on like my want to read list. I haven't bought anything. And I know that I should probably maybe read fantasy first, but I'm going to give it a go here first because this sounds kind of right up my alley. It seems like horror, but kind of with a good bit of humor, maybe a little over the top. I like that kind of horror. I'm a big B-movie horror fan. So, I mean, I like all kind of horror, but that tends to be my sort of taste. So it's, so the main character is Brother Diaz, who I think is some sort of monk or maybe clergyman of some kind, is assigned to a town that's full of murderers, witches, and monsters. And he has to do some bloody work. So when they say bloody, I think they mean bloody work, to accomplish his mission, which I guess is to try to save the people in that town, even though they're all murderers, witches, and monsters. And it has like awful royalty and zombie elves, and it just sounds absolutely maybe a little bit bonkers. I'm there. Coming out May 8th, The Manor of Dreams by Christina Lee. This is a horror fantasy. It's very gothic, and when I was reading sort of the synopsis for it, it gave me kind of like Evelyn Hugo vibes. So it's like a horror inspired Evelyn Hugo type of deal. So it talks about Vivian Yi, who is the first Oscar-winning Chinese actress, and she's dead. She has died. Her family's gathered for the will. They find out that she's left all of her wealth to a different family. So they all move on to the estate to try to lay claim, and then creepy things start to happen. Yes. The next one I have is May 22nd, The Corruption of Hollis Brown by Kay Ancrum. Kay Ancrum is probably one of my favorite authors. They are incredible. I've loved everything I've read of theirs. I think I have one of their backlists that I haven't probably read, maybe a couple of more, but the ones that I have read have all been 5 stars, and I am just so excited that they have a new one. I just read Icarus this past year, and I loved it, so I am here for it. So it's a horror, queer fiction, romantic kind of thriller. And so basically it's about Hollis, who is falling victim to possession and also falling in love with the spirit that is possessing him. What? And so it's about them trying to stop his friends from performing an exorcism, I think, on them, because they're like, Hollis, hey, so there for this. I like Kate Ancrum's writing is gorgeous. I don't have any other words. Gorgeous writing. So looking forward to that. Okay, I'm in June. I only have a few more, so I am in June. Coming out June 3rd, A Song of Legends Lost by M.H. Allende. It's an epic high fantasy. It is a series, so this is the other series I have on this list. And it's inspired by multiple pre-colonial cultures. So it has like gods and myths and everything kind of with it. I picked it up because it reminded me a lot of Rebecca Warnhorse and her sort of series that she writes, that she takes a lot of indigenous myths and culture and brings it into her stories and just makes them amazing. So it's about Timmy, a commoner from the slums who is able to invoke a powerful ancient spirit, and what they have to do once that happens, and sort of the kind of epic adventure they kind of go on. The next one I have is Atmosphere, that comes out June 3rd by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I am a Taylor Jenkins Reid girl, even though I've only really read one Taylor Jenkins Reid novel that's current. I read a couple of her older novels. They were very good, but my favorite book is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I adore that book so much. It is one of my very, very favorite books. So this is the newest one by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It's set against the backdrop of the 1980s space program, so it's historical fiction. Again, set against the backdrop of the 1980s space shuttle program. So Joan, who's the main character, she's content with her life as a physics and astronomy professor, and she's loves being an aunt as well. But she's been obsessed with the stars her whole life. So she sees this advertisement saying that they are looking for people to join and enter a NASA program, women specifically. And so she decides to enter and, finds passion and finds love, and everything changes when she goes on a specific mission. That's all I know. I'm here for it. Next, another one that I am excited about, especially because this is going to be like a completely new thing for this author. The Listeners by Maggie Stiefvater. So, you know, the Raven Boys they're so good. And so, like, I don't think the Maggie's written anything outside the Raven Boys for a very long time. So this is her first book that is outside of that. And I think it may be her first, like, adult novel. I mean, not first, but, like, this is an adult novel. It's historical fiction fantasy. It's set in 1942. And it's about Jude Hudson, who runs, like, this high-class hotel spa. And the owner's son has made a deal to let Axis prisoner diplomats be sequestered there. And, of course, June has to keep her staff from sort of rebelling because they don't want to serve Nazis. That is such a correct feeling that they have. This is very, unfortunately, a little bit too hits home these days as well, doesn't it? So she has to sort of keep her staff from revolting while trying to keep the FBI agent she has a past with from causing more problems. And she's also the only person who can deal with the hotel's magical underwater spring. Yeah, there's a lot there. Okay. The next one I have, this is also kind of exciting. I've not read any of Janice Hallett's stuff, but June 5th, she has a middle grade mystery coming out called A Box Full of Murders. This may be the first thing I will have read of Janice Hallett, and then I'll go back and read the other ones. But what I do love about Janice Hallett that I know is that she does mixed media, and I, again, am an epistolatory girly. While mixed media isn't exactly epistolatory, it kind of falls under that umbrella, in my opinion. So I love anything that has to do with epistolatory umbrella. And so it's a middle grade about two siblings, Ava and Max, and they find an old notebook their dad's with clues to, like, a murder that was an unsolved murder. And so they decide to solve the murder, but it kind of puts them in danger because the person that committed the murder is someone is still around. I don't know if it's someone they know, but it's, you know. So it might put them in a bit of danger. It is mixed media, like I said, and they find a box, I think, and it's got letters and diary entries, newspaper clip cuttings, and secret recordings, and so it's all told through that Janice Hallett format that is, I think, really, really great. I'm excited about that one so much. After this, these are my last two. This is also another one that I find is like, I am so excited about this. It's called it's V.E. Schwab's June 10th, Bury Our Bones in the Soil. Fantasy horror, lesbian vampires. Beautiful. And this is all I know. This is it. This is the only synopsis I've seen anywhere. I'm gonna read it. 3 young women, their bodies planted in the same soil, their stories tangled like roots. One grows high, and one grows deep, and one grows wild, and all of them grow teeth. Listen, say less. Yes? Okay. I'm so stupidly excited for that one. And my last one is Meet Me at the Crossroads by Megan Giddings. Comes out June 25th. It's science fiction fantasy. And so this one's about, so 7 doors appear all in one morning that seem to lead to a different world. And, you know, people want to get to that world. It seems so awesome, but of course, anything that seems too good to be true is, and it might be more dangerous than people realize. And it focuses on 2 Black Midwestern teens, so twin sisters, are drawn to the doors. One of them, I think, more cautiously than the other. And so when one of them goes missing, the other has to figure out how to live without their other half. How are they going to cope and maybe deal with whatever it is they find out happened to their sister. Oh, sounds good. All right, that was it. I think that was 25. That's a lot of books. I know. God knows I probably won't get to very many of them, but I'm going to try so hard to get to a good number of them. I'm going to highlight the ones that I truly want to read. And this is just for the first half of the year, you guys. The first half of the year. What? I can't. Anyways. So yeah, that's it for now. This bonus video. Let me know what you are looking forward to. What is your most anticipated? Give me your most anticipated book for 2025. Like, what title are you looking forward to the most? Please link me to your videos if you have videos for your most anticipated down in the comments. Comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you guys with my next video very soon. Thanks. Bye.